Hello, my name is Katrina. Thank you so much for joining into this practice. Welcome. Today we might be using some props, so if you have something that can stand in as yoga blocks or as like a cushion, it could be a couch pillow or a folded up blanket or towel, just to keep the knees happier as we're doing stuff on the knees. Nothing is needed. It's just if you have it, it might make your practice a little bit more accessible. It might feel a little bit better. Even if you don't have a block like this, like a book or a shoe box or something like that can work. Just something that can lift the floor up a little bit to you. So today I want to talk about one of these obstacles to happiness in the way that it was taught to me. And all of these obstacles are interesting because they have two sides to the same idea. So the one today that I want to talk about is typically taught as age and youth. And today I want to reframe it into knowing and not knowing. Age having wisdom and all of the lessons that age gives, and then the innocence of youth, the not knowingness of youth. And just take a moment and think about perhaps how that makes sense for you in your life. And how we go through this cycle over and over and over. So it's not just the entire path of our lives, but that and I think about when I was a senior in high school and I was like, okay, I know everything. I totally got this. And then I was a freshman in college and you're right back to the not knowing end of the spectrum. And then you go through college and then you graduate from college and you're like, great, I got this. I'm a college graduate. And then you start kind of over in the not knowing place of life. So even if you haven't done those cycles yet or you didn't do them, you have the basic idea of that, how it's always going through this cycle. And it's true also in the yoga practice. First time you step onto the mat, it's all brand new, you're totally in the place of not knowing. And then over time, you start to know more, you start to understand more, you start to learn your body, you learn the poses, you learn what the practice is for you. And then a point will come, or has come, where you find yourself back at a beginning. And that can happen just in the natural progression of things, or maybe you've had an injury, or something happened in your life where you find yourself away from your practice for a long time. So I kind of want to have these ideas in the back of our mind as we're going through practice today. And I will invite you to kind of see where you are on that path for yourself. And if you find yourself in a place where you're more towards the I got this side of things, I invite you to look at things with a little bit more of a beginner's mind. Meaning, like, how can you approach these things as if you've never done them before and let them be a little bit more true, perhaps in that way. I think once we get to a point where the poses make sense or we know what they're supposed to feel like, it can kind of get in the way of finding new things about them and new things about ourselves. So we'll kind of keep that in mind as we move through practice, and we'll get started. So hopefully you're sitting comfortably already. If you're not, make it a little more comfy for you. And we'll rest your hands onto your legs and close your eyes. And we start here at the beginning of our cycle of practice today by turning to the breath, as we have done so many times before. Just take a moment to feel where you are at today, how you're doing. I'm just noticing where there might be tension in your body. Maybe not looking for it. That might be somewhere different and new. And seeing if you can allow that tense place or places to soften a little bit as you sit here so that we can start today with a blank slate as much as possible. And every time we step onto the mat, we come into this place of not knowing. This place at the beginning where we don't know what's going to happen on our mat. We don't know what the experience is going to be. We have the wisdom that has led us here and will inform the practice. We don't actually know. Let's please bring the hands together in front of the heart. You can rest your thumbs onto your chest and just a little bit lift your heart up to your thumbs. And then let's just take one big breath, you and I together. Please exhale and welcome a deep breath in. And a big exhale. Gently bowing your chin to your chest. You can release your hands and then blink your eyes open. All right, so we'll start today in hands and knees. So come on to tabletop. This is a great place to put a cushion underneath your knees if they need some support. And we'll move through cat and cow to start. Something we often start with. So when you inhale, look forward, send your tailbone back, allow your belly to drop. And then when you exhale, push the floor away, round your spine, and tuck your chin. And then back and forth like this. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling to curl. Just allowing your eyes to kind of take in your environment. Your ears as well. Just letting the sounds that you hear just kind of pass through your experience. And then you can begin to move in other ways. Just whatever feels good. You're just really listening into the wisdom of you knowing your body and what feels good, what it needs to kind of warm up, wake up here. And then we'll make our way into downward facing dog from here. So a little longer stance, toes tucked. And once the hips stretch up and back, you can add in the pedal of the feet. Now lift the heels, bend the knees. Just do what feels good here. And then let's see here. Let's check out the length of our downward facing dog. So you're in downward dog. Float forward into plank pose and notice if you have to move your hands or your feet, kind of readjust so it feels like a comfortable length front to back. And then this is the length that you want to keep as you go back into downward facing dog. You might need to bend your knees a little more so you can feel that your ears come right in between your biceps. Push down into your hands and then take a couple soothing breaths. Soft knees, look forward and walk your feet all the way up to your hands. Come into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Bend your knees so you can really let your low back relax. Let the back of the neck let go. Arms hanging down like noodles to the floor. And then we'll inhale to come all the way up to stand. Fly the arms up. Push the feet down. And then exhale, arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Coming into this pattern we've done so many times. Inhale, rise halfway. Lengthen your spine forward and do the shape that feels good for you. Exhale, place your hands down and step back all the way back into plank pose. Breathe in plank. Exhale to low plank. Lean forward, bend the elbows, point the toes and do cobra. Shoulders back, arm bones back. Breathe in. And then exhale, release through plank, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. And then we'll look forward, walk or hop your feet to the front of your mat. Soft knees in Uttanasana. Allow the belly to rest onto the legs. And even as you feel the strength of your outer hips squeeze in, push your feet down into the floor. So you can get that strength in the legs. So outer hips squeeze in, push down into the feet, and then inhale, come all the way up. Keep the strength in the legs as you reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, arms down by your sides. Round two, arms up. Exhale, fold forward, hands down to the ground. One halfway lift. Really feel parallel to the floor with your spine. Look forward, lift your shoulders up. And then exhale, hands down. We'll step back with the left leg to come to a high lunge. Back knee lifted off the ground and then stretch your arms up overhead. Okay, so familiar shape, high lunge. We're going to switch it up just a little bit. So the legs are really stable. They're not going to move. The hips aren't going to swing. Everything's going to stay in the legs. You'll inhale here. And then exhale, fold forward in the chest. Swing your arms back behind and then scoop your belly like cat pose. And then you'll inhale to go back to where you started. Exhale to round. Sweep back. Scoop the ribs up. Lift the pinky fingers. Inhale to come up. 2 more. Exhale, swing. Lift the belly. Scoop the belly in. Inhale, lift. Last one. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, bring your left hand down to the floor. Twist your chest to the side. Revolve lunge. You can put your left hand up on a block or a prop. And then push your feet down and away strongly into the floor. Lean your shoulders, your head back. Exhale to bring your right hand down to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Breathe in. Exhale to lower forward, down to your belly, point your toes, cobra, stretch your toenails back, arms wrap back, and then release, downward facing dog. Just measuring every time, making sure you have that right length. Breathe in, breathe out. Last sun salutation, look forward, walker, float your feet to the front of your mat. Strong legs, inhale, come up. Exhale, arms down. Second side, arms up, breathe in. Exhale, fold forward, soften those knees, lean forward on the way down. Halfway lift, inhale, go nice and slow. Exhale, hands down to the floor, and then high lunge with the right leg back. Wiggle it way back so you have the correct length, meaning my front knee is over my ankle, and my back heel is over the toes. So it's not reaching back. It's actually straight up towards the sky. And then arms up. You get established in your breath here. Find your pattern of breath. And then you're going to do 4 swings. So the inhale is here, and the exhale swings. Really lift the belly, the ribs up. Inhale, arms fly. 3 more. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Try to get really articulate in your spine. Last one. And then exhale, right hand down to the floor. Find a little twist in your chest to the left. High. Keep the back heel lifted. And then stretch across the collarbones. Lean your shoulders back, your head back. Last moment here. And then left hand down to the floor, step back, plank pose. We'll lower all the way down to the belly for locust. Fly your arms back, point your toes, and then lift your thighs, your chest, your arms. Try to stay long in the back of the neck. And instead of trying to go super high with this one, see if you can reach your thighs out of your hips, your ribs out of your waist, and your hands out of the shoulders. Stretch back. Stay lifted here. Tuck your toes. Place your hands by your low ribs, so not under your shoulders, but back by your low ribs, and then with a big, strong inhale, find plank pose. Inhale, and then exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathe fully. Exhale completely. Find your steady downward dog, the one that feels good for you today. All right, let's take an inhale to reach the right leg up and back. You find 3-legged dog, super square in the hips so that right hip keeps turning down towards the floor. And then step your foot forward, and we'll set up side angle. Back heel down, elbow towards the knee, and sweep your top arm low overhead. Find the long length here, and let this be really a side stretch. So the top arm reaches kind of overhead. You get that lengthening in the ribs. There's muscles between every rib, so you can feel that they're all stretching, all the intercostals, lengthening and opening. And then we'll inhale to come up. Keep that front leg bent to reverse. Sweep your top arm overhead. Try to keep your front knee deep and wide to the right. And then stay reaching back, straighten your front leg. Reverse triangle. 2 straight legs, push your feet down. Feel from your sit bones, your hips down into the floor. And then we'll come into triangle. Stretch your arms wide. This is a great one to use a prop. You can set it up outside of your leg. Still push down into the floor so your legs feel toned and tip forward. Trying to bring your arms into a vertical line. Feel free to bend your front knees some or a lot to take some of the edge off of the hamstring so it doesn't overstretch in the back of the leg. And just allow your intuition to tell you, okay, you know what, that's a little too much. I'm going to bend the knee. It's totally fine. Try to smooth your breath here. Stay here, but turn your top palm overhead. Arm goes long, just like side angle. You get that same side reach. Try to stamp down from your outer left hip into the ground and just a little bit. Spin your heart to the sky. All right, big exhale, both hands down. Peel your back heel up and go back downward facing dog. From downward dog, left leg up and back. Big kick back through the heel. And then step your foot forward between your hands. I'm going to just adjust so I'm still facing towards you. So you have your left foot forward, left elbow to the knee, and then top arm goes low overhead. And you get established in your breath. Try to feel that when you breathe in, it pushes to the edges of the pose. You try to find maybe something a little bit new in this familiar shape. And what little adjustments can you make to have a slightly different experience? Maybe get into a little different stretch or a little bit different feeling of strength here. And then we'll come up to reverse, turn your left palm up and reach back. Same thing, maybe find a little bit more depth in that front knee. Maybe find a little bit more power into the back foot. Maybe turn your gaze up towards the sky and lengthen more through the top side. All right, stay reaching back, but straighten the leg. Really push down into the foot so you have something to reach away from. And then we'll come into triangle. Arms parallel to the floor, big reach wide, and then tip forward. Bring your hand to your block or prop outside your leg. Now if you don't have a prop, you can just bring your hand onto your leg if the floor feels far. But let's prioritize here, trying to keep the shoulders really stacked. When the legs are tight and the floor feels far, the shoulders will kind of turn down to the floor to make that space. So instead, you can bring your hand onto your thighs so you can really feel right shoulder on top of left. Okay, we've got one more breath here, and I'm talking a lot. Just breathe. Top arm low, stretch it long. Turn it into the side stretch. Keep your back foot really anchored into the floor. Like a waterfall down over the hip, energy pours down into the outer foot. The next time you exhale, both hands down to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. If you'd like to do a droning vinyasa, you can do that here, or hang out in down dog or child's pose. For the vinyasa, you'll inhale, plank pose, exhale through low plank, point the toes, cobra, shoulders back, toes back, and then everyone back to downward facing dog. All right, let's again reach the right leg up and back. This time bend the knee and twist the hips open. Try to keep your left armpit lifting so your shoulders don't change their relationship to the floor. And then you can do little ankle circles, maybe turn the knee in and out. And then you'll step your foot to the outside of your right hand to set up twisted monkey. Pad up the back knee perhaps. Maybe put something underneath your left hand for a little more space. Just make sure your right foot is far enough forward that the knee stays on top of the ankle. This isn't one where we want it to go past. You can turn the right toes out a little bit, and then as the toes turn out, the knee also turns out. So I'll do it facing towards you. The toes go out, but also the knee, just a little bit out to the side. And then you can twist your chest to the right, towards that front leg. Either stay like this, squeeze the legs together for stability, or you can bend the back leg and reach back with your right hand for the foot. And if you're really, really close to catching it and it's just not quite happening, you can come up to a higher level, maybe stack 2 books on top of each other, or just work here. Squeeze the heel in and push the hips back to the heel. You're trying to close the gap with the strength of the back of the leg. That gets a deeper stretch too. Wherever you are, solidly breathe. Allow your right knee to go more out to the side as the hip pulls back. And then we'll unwind, gently release that foot, tuck your toes, and switch sides. Inhale, left leg goes back, bend the knee, twist the hips open, get a little circle over the ankle, the hip, the knee, and then step your foot outside of the hand, back knee down, set up twisted monkey. So you can turn your left toes out, the knee goes out. As the knee goes out, the hip draws back. So it doesn't kind of wing out to the side, but it goes back behind you. And you find your twist either here, or you can reach for the foot, get a deeper quad, stretch. Lifting up the right hand away from the floor to close the gap if it feels just too tight. And breathe. Try to put your neck in a position that's comfortable. Allowing the pose to be maybe somewhat new. You do something slightly different in how you're angling the back foot. Maybe it goes a little wider to the side. And then gently releasing that leg, and we'll stretch out so you're laying on your belly. Okay, locust round 2 we'll do with hands bound. You can grab a strap between your hands or interlace your hands together, or if you don't have a prop with you, you can just do the same thing we did before with arms down. Either way, shoulders up first, lift the arms up, and then chest and legs lift. Try to even out your breath here. So if anything feels shaky, go stronger in your belly, maybe a little bit less high in your chest. Smooth breath, stretch the knuckles back. And then next time you exhale to release. Turn your head to one side and close your eyes. You can rock your hips from side to side. Just breathe. And then we'll make our way back to downward facing dog. Strong belly. You can press up to tabletop or up to plank. And then downward dog. Okay, so we're halfway about through our practice. So see if you can check in with this downward dog here. And just see where you're at now. What are the sensations in your body? What is the experience? How does it connect to what you know and what you have yet to know? And then we'll walk the hands all the way back to the feet. Same thing in this forward fold. We've done a few forward folds. See how this one is now. Still bend your knees and lean forward. And then let your head go. And drop your head. Allow your shoulders to relax. I do this with little fingertips. So I have a little power into the wrists and the hands. And then everything else can have a little bit more melty feeling towards the earth. And the next time you inhale, come all the way up to stand. Stretch your arms up overhead. And then exhale into chair pose. Step forward a little bit. Exhale into chair pose. Look at your knees and make sure they're tracking straight ahead. So you have the same amount of space between your knees and your ankles. Okay, we'll do those same swings here. So inhale here. And then exhale, swing the arms back. Bring your forehead towards your knees. Stretch your arms towards the sky. Inhale, chair. Exhale, swing. Scoop the belly. Keep the hips low. 2 more. Really round. Last one. Inhale, come up. And exhale, arms down by your sides. Okay. From here, we're actually going to set up triangle pose again. So grab your prop if you're using one. And we'll start with the right foot forward. I'm going to start a little bit to the left side of my mat because we're going to launch forward. Okay, so setting up triangle pose, really important here to keep the kneecap pointed to your front, whatever your front is right now. point your kneecap that way. So for most of us, the tendency is for the kneecap to kind of turn in. That's just how we are, like, anatomically. So it feels a little bit like the inner thigh has to come forward to point the knee straight ahead. And that'll be really important for what we're going to do out of this. So find that feeling, turn the hip out, and then fold forward, triangle pose. I'm showing this with the block, but you can also do it without. Hand onto the thigh without pushing into it. It's just lightly tapping. And then from here, we'll go into half moon. So you bring your top hand to your hip, look down, bend your front knee, and then scoot yourself forward. You bring your prop with you. I'm gonna scoot back to my head. I'm gonna have to adjust in your space, no big deal. And then as you look down at your foot, you wanna keep it straight ahead. Knee straight ahead. Then a little bit, you might feel like you can stack your shoulders. Left shoulder on top of right. Stretch your top arm up towards the sky. Flex your back foot. And then maybe turn your gaze to the side. That really tests the balance. And then big step back into triangle pose. And we'll switch sides. I'll scoot this way. Find your long, wide stance. You can also do this without the prop. I'll show that on the second side. Stretch the arms wide and then tip forward so your left hand comes just lightly lays onto the leg. I have no weight. I'm holding myself up completely with my torso. Turn the left knee out. It feels like the inner thigh comes more forward. And then we'll go into half moon. Top hand to hip. Look down. Without a prop, if the floor feels far, bend your standing leg a lot, or you can put your left hand onto some furniture, a wall, whatever's there. But feel free to bend your left leg. Knees straight ahead, toes straight ahead, flex your back foot, and then just a little bit, maybe find you can spin your top shoulder up, stretch your right hand towards the sky, eyes to the side, will really challenge that balance. And then big step back. Triangle pose. Come into a wide leg stance. That wasn't really triangle pose, just kind of passed through it. Come into a wide leg stance and we'll fold forward. Same thing. Knees bend and then go out. Then go wide to support. You get strong in the hips. Big breath in. And then exhale, fold forward. Both hands down to the ground. Drop your head. If it feels good to sway a bit from side to side, you can do that. Just get really sensitive into the soles of your feet and try to feel that you're not rocking back or forward. You're right in the middle. And we'll turn this into a little wrist stretch. So come up onto your fingertips, you straighten your arms, and then put your palms flat to the floor. You can bend your knees more if you need to. Palms flat to the floor. And then start to walk your hands back, like more underneath your hips. Keep your elbows straight and your palms flat, and you'll get a stretch in the back of the wrists a bit. Here you can lift your chest, look forward, lean forward. You'll get a little bit more into the wrists, and then maybe you kind of sway side to side in the chest. Without twisting, you're just kind of sweeping from left to right. And then you can release that, wiggle your feet all the way together. Inhale, rise halfway. Spine lengthens. Exhale, soften down. Legs strong. And inhale all the way up. Fly the arms up. Exhale, arms light by your sides. All right, give your wrists a little circle, a little shake. Okay, so I'd like to do dancer pose now, not trage. So if your balance is tricky and you want to do this with the wall or some furniture or something to hold on to, have it in front of you, not to the side of you. And you're going to start standing on your right leg, and we'll bend the left leg. Oh, actually, I'm going to set up a little bit differently. Okay, so you can face whichever way, but I'm going to face towards you so you can see. Hold your left hand out like you're holding a tray. And then a very sad thing happens and you drop the tray. It just goes straight down. So your palm is facing out. Then, without turning your arm at all, bend your leg and place your hand inside. So you're holding onto the inner edge of the foot. This will get a little bit more shoulder stretchy, so if at any point it gets too tight, you can hold on to the outside if that's more comfortable. But this will give you a little more shoulder stretch. Okay, so you're holding onto the inner edge of the foot. Squeeze the legs together and reach your right arm forward. Lift your belly. Try to feel the back of the body grows longer. Now the only thing that's going to happen here is you're going to lift your thigh behind. Nothing else changes. Just slide your thigh back. Stay here or start to tip more forward. Your right hand can come onto the wall or furniture in front of you, and you can bend your standing leg to take some of that edge off. Look down at your foot. See that your foot is straight ahead and your knee is also straight ahead. Even if it's straight, you can see where the kneecap is. It's not knocking in. It's not turning in. And see if you can find a steady breath. Maybe really reaching forward through that hand. Lift the thigh behind like locust. And then inhale, come up. Swim your arm back. Breathe in. Breathe out. And go to the other side. Right hand out. Hold the tray. Sadly, very sadly, drop the tray. Keep your palm pointed out. And then hold on to the inside of your foot. Squeeze your knees together and reach your left arm forward. Have support in front of you for balance if you want. No big deal. Knees squeeze together. Lift the back of your body long. And then just the thigh stretches back. I'm doing so much in the leg, my hand isn't really doing very much. I could almost lift my hand away from my foot and my foot wouldn't move in space. It's really supported by the glutes, by the hamstrings. And then if you want to, you can bend your standing leg a little bit and start to tip forward. As you tip forward, look down. Make sure that your foot and your knee are still straight ahead. That's really hard to balance as you do that, so take it nice and slow. And you can readjust, looking forward over the front hand. Lift the thigh, strong in the belly like you're curling over that lunging leg. And then coming up, swim the leg back. Breathe in. Breathe out. And we'll make our way back to downward dog. Fold forward, step your feet back. A joining vinyasa here might feel good. Just hang out here for a moment. And soften your knees down to the ground just so you can take a peek up here. I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So we'll start in triangle pose. I'm going to adjust this way because we're going to go from triangle into half moon again. Okay, so you set up your triangle. Just watch. Triangle. Top hand to hip. Look down. Knee and toes are all pointed that way, and you're going to stay that way as I go into half moon. Half moon. And then from half moon, you're going to bend the back leg. Don't worry about which way the hand is facing. Just hold on to the outside of the foot. Now you're in Shavasana, sugar cane. Keep your eyes down. It'll help with the balance. Okay, so this is a great place to work. If you want to really challenge yourself, really try something maybe new, push down into that foot and come up into dancer. Squeeze the knee in, lift the thigh back. And then we'll go back the way we came. So back down into sugar cane, twist your chest to the side, half moon, and then back to a triangle setup. Let's try it on the other side. Or we'll do it on the first side together. We'll do the right leg together. You can stop at any point if you don't feel like going on to the next one, if it feels too wobbly. You can always put your hand onto the wall to help in that transition. I'll show that on the second round, how you can do it with your hand on a wall. You can also use a chair or something. So we'll set up our triangle pose. Strong legs, knee out, and then lean forward, tip forward into your Trikonasana, your triangle pose. Familiar. We'll take it a little bit more unfamiliar. Top hand to hip, look down, slide your bottom hand forward, lift your back leg, then you can bend the knee and reach back. If you're bending the knee and not catching it at all, you can bring it forward. That helps. Bring it forward. Slide your hand towards the ankle. Then point the knee back. And if you're coming out to dancer, you want to use support. Put your hand on something. And then use your hand to help support on the way up. So much more doable. Maybe the hand comes off, and then we'll go back down. You can use your hand. Try to keep the strong connection, strong left leg. Hand down, half moon, big finish. And then big step back. Wiggle your feet together for a moment. Do a little march in place. Shake it out. And then we'll try the other side. Left leg. Triangle to set it up. Take a big breath. This is it. One last thing before we cool it down. Stretch your arms out. Squeeze the legs together and turn the left knee out. And then reach way out and come into triangle. You can do this one, same thing. Hand to the shin works fine. And we'll bring it into half moon, top hand to hip, look down, scoot the back leg in, and really walk your left hand out in front of you. A little out to the side will help the balance. Keep your left knee straight ahead, left toes straight ahead, and then maybe the top arm goes up. You can bend the top knee, reach in front to catch it, sometimes helps, and then point the knee back. My sides are really different. I always have to bring it in front on this side. And then we'll come up into a dancer. Push down into your left foot. Keep the knee straight ahead and squeeze the right knee in. Da-da-da. And then we'll bring it back down. Kind of rotate around the left hip. Keep the knee pointing ahead. Big extension back. And then step back. Triangle-ish. Turn your feet together. Do a little march in place. And then we'll fold forward and come to the front of your mat. Fold forward over soft knees and just dangle in a way that feels good. You can hold on to opposite elbows or go wider in your feet. And just maybe sway a bit from left to right. And we'll go into one more downward dog, which you can do through a vinyasa, or you can just go straight there. And just get what you need from downward dog. And as we check in with this one, have the wisdom, the experience of this practice informing the downward dog, either making us feel more tired, more energized, more open, stronger. I don't know, it could be anything. And just see what that is. See what your downward dog knows now, 40 minutes in. And we'll soften the knees down to the ground. Put your legs out in front of you. And we'll come into Gomukhasana, get a little stretch for the outer hips. I'll give tons of options for this one. First option is to sit on something, just to elevate the hips a little bit. Sometimes makes a huge difference. I'm actually going to fold this over even one more time. So it's just like a little bit higher for the hips. Then you have a seat on it. And the first stage of this pose, we have a bunch of stages. First stage is to cross the right leg all the way over. So you're really on the outside of the foot, and your shin is at a right angle. So it's not folded in this way, but it's really straight across. Just very lovingly kind of nudge the knees together. So it feels like this top knee could really come over the bottom knee. Mine don't quite get there, but yours might. Flex your bottom foot, and just a little bit, sit up and tip forward. You might get hamstring stretch, you might get hip stretch, either is fine. To deepen it from here, you can start to twist over away from the top foot and walk your hands out on a diagonal. Okay, if you're really familiar, really wise in Gomukhasana, you can do this with the bottom leg bent as well. Trying to still feel the knees are close to one on top of each other. And we'll walk a little bit over to your left. This way, you can lean to the left and try to feel that both hips really stay on the ground. And then slide your belly from right to left. Slide your torso from right to left until you feel something nice happening in your low back, perhaps. I really have a strong connection of my right elbow pushing back into the knee that way, like a jab back to really anchor it here. And then smooth, steady breathing, please. And I will inhale to unwind. And we'll switch to the other side. So with both legs out, you can choose to just cross the right leg over, or you can bend the bottom leg underneath as well. And adjust so you really feel like your hips are behind you and pretty even into the floor. So you don't want to be leaning one way. If you're leaning one way, then that bottom leg probably should come out straight. So you can find a squareness in your hips. That way you won't tweak the back, hopefully. Sit up tall to start. And once you feel like that is enough, maybe this is where you stay. Or you can start to walk your hands out to the right. Really bringing that left arm inside will help get a stronger twist. But if it doesn't make it, totally fine. And then wherever you are, see if you can lean a little bit more to the right so that your right hip feels just as heavy. And use the wisdom of your experience here to inform how to send your energy here. Take a couple of deeper breaths. I'm really pushing my left elbow into the knee and sliding the torso, sliding the belly from left to right. And it really gets into the low back, into the outer hips that just work so hard on that balancing. And then we'll come on back to the center and come to lie down on your back with your feet flat to the floor. Move that cushion out of the way. So feet flat to the floor, and we'll set up a bridge pose. You can do this robot arm version for more stability, or reach your arms out and hold on to the outer edges of your mat. That will give you a little bit more opening, but not as much power. So you choose what you want to do. I'll do this one. Try to feel your feet are very parallel. They're straight ahead. It's the name of the game today. And over time, we'll know better where that is, because you can't see it, but it's about just feeling it. And over time, we know better. Like, okay, I know for sure my right foot has the tendency to kind of turn out, so I have to make it feel a little bit more in, and then it's parallel. And these are things that we learn. And then at some point, I know I'll start doing it too much, and I'll have to have someone come tell me, like, oh, Katrina, you're doing it a little too much. And I'll be back at the beginning, and I have to find where parallel is again. Once you feel parallel-ish, as best as you can without outside eyes, push down into your feet and lift your hips off the ground. Let it feel like a stretch for the front of your hips. So really push down into your feet until you get that sensation. Lift your chin away from your chest and then chase your chin with your chest. Puff up with air. If your arms are on the mat, you can pull apart like you're breaking the mat in two, or walk the shoulder blades together and interlace the hands. 2 more full breaths here. Really feel the strength of your legs, pressing the hips high to get the stretch across the front of the hip flexors. And then the next time that you inhale, you can release your hands if they're together. Exhale, everyone, hips down to the floor. Wide feet, knock your knees in, place your hands on your belly, and just close your eyes for a moment. Just let your body rest. And then from here, you get whatever final movements or poses or things you need before Shavasana. Maybe hug your knees into your chest. Maybe do a little twist. You can take as much time as you want. Obviously, this is a video. You can pause it if you need a little bit of time before you go into Shavasana. Just take your time. And once you find Shavasana as a comfortable shape on your back with the backs of the hands on the floor, feel free to adjust or modify whatever you need to make this feel better. Maybe you put your cushion underneath your knees, or you do this seated instead, or even feet to the floor, knees in where we just were is another great place to rest if that feels better for your back. Also take a deep breath in together and exhale through the mouth. Exhale, 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 exhale. Push out all the air. One more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. And then coming to a steady pace of breath. I'll give us just a minute or so here for Shavasana, but if you would like a longer Shavasana, you're again welcome to pause the video. You can set a timer or not, and just take a little bit longer to rest if you'd like. Just falling into a place where your body doesn't have to do very much. The outer form can soften. Allowing the backs of the arms to rest on the floor. And bringing a subtle awareness to all of the places that are at the back of the body but aren't touching the ground. So the backs of the wrists, back of the neck, even that very bottom part of the skull. Your low back may or may not be touching. Just notice. Backs of the knees, backs of the ankles. Soles of the feet. No matter how many times I approach Shavasana, it is different every time. I can think I know what it's going to be, and then the experience is just what it is. So I move into a place of knowing that I don't know. I try to sit with that and allow myself to rest. And you begin to breathe a little deeper. Move your fingers, your toes a little bit. Circle your wrists, your ankles. Bend your knees, place your feet flat to the floor, and stretch your arms overhead. And we'll come to lie in a fetal position on one side. And curl your arm underneath your head, like a little pillow. Just pause here, eyes closed. Here at the end of practice. Every question leads to more questions. It is in this exploration that we find more answers about ourselves, more answers about our world. Within all the questioning, all the not knowing. You can use your hands to press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Just close your eyes still. Once you're upright, allow your shoulders to soften. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. as you acknowledge and thank yourself for your efforts, for your energy, for your attention. Just feel into your body how it is now here at the end of this cycle of practice. Leaning into all that is learned, all that is known. I'd like to close by breathing together one more time. Please exhale and welcome a deep breath in. Big exhale. You can bow your chin, release your hands, and blink your eyes open. All right. Thank you so much for sharing practice. If you have any questions or any thoughts and want to find me on Instagram, I'm always looking for new friends on Instagram. My name is Katkinn. So if you have any requests for future practices, any questions about what we did today, you can find me there or reach out to me through Nava. We're posting new classes all the time and also are now offering live classes where you can practice over Zoom with an instructor. So hopefully if this is something that is working for you right now and is really speaking to you, I'd love to have you again and share more practices together. Hope you have a really great rest of your day. Bye.